Welcome back to Steel City Sports. So today I wanted to share some quick thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons quarterback situation because I've been watching the NFL for about a decade now, and this is one of the most bizarre situations I've ever seen a team put themselves in. It's not like they had a veteran quarterback on the roster and they were like drafting his replacement. No, you brought both these guys in at the same time. You brought Kirk Cousins in on a 5-year deal. You can get out of it after 3, but essentially you told Kirk Cousins, you're going to be our guy going forward. So if the plan was to bring in Kirk Cousins, then drafting Michael Penix Jr. makes absolutely zero sense. And I think that it highlights that the management of the Falcons doesn't really know what the hell they're doing, because that makes absolutely zero sense. Michael Penix is not some project, some prospect. This is a ready now NFL guy in terms of coming out of the draft. He has some of the most starts in college football history. This isn't a guy that needs to sit for a couple of years. And I've heard people use the argument of, well, look what the Packers did with Jordan Love. Well, they had an established veteran quarterback on the team in Aaron Rodgers. They had that. Aaron Rodgers clearly was a tenured Green Bay Packer. This situation is nowhere like that because Kirk Cousins was not on the roster last year. Kirk Cousins has no stake with the fan base whatsoever. He does with ownership, obviously, because they just gave him a ton of money. But the fans, you're telling me if they start off 1-3, no one's going to be fucking loyal to Kirk Cousins. Everyone's going to be clamoring for Michael Penix Jr. to get in there if they get off to a slow start. Throw the young kid out there. And so this is ultimately the biggest point when it comes down to this situation and why it's such a disaster is because you could very quickly split the locker room over this quarterback controversy, and they put themselves in it. They shot themselves in the foot. They did not need to make such a strange dynamic at the quarterback position because right now Kirk Cousins is still rehabbing his injury, his torn Achilles, whereas Michael Penix Jr. is out there with the guys. He's out there with Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan throwing bombs in training camp. So they're going to relate more with him already from an age standpoint, but they don't care that Kirk Cousins makes the money he makes. They just want to go with the guy who wins. So if Kirk gets off to a slow start, I think things in Atlanta could quickly blow up. And ultimately, I'm sick of people telling me that, they're just trying to get their bridge guy for the next couple of years. That makes absolutely zero sense for me. This feels like they're clueless. They don't know what they're doing. They kind of panicked. Using the 8th pick on a quarterback, that's not a guy you just sit. If you want to go back to Jordan Love, I think he was the 29th pick in that draft. Even go back to Aaron, I think he was in the 20s. It's not the same thing. You can't one-to-one compare it to the Packers and how they sat their quarterbacks because you used the 8th overall pick. Those type of players are viewed as NFL day one starters. You look at the past couple of years, all the quarterbacks drafted in the top 10 typically play week 1. Not all of them, but most of them do. And it should go for Michael Penix as well. Like we said, he's one of the most experienced college quarterbacks of all time. And he's not a guy that needs to sit around. So I don't want to get too far off on a tangent here, but essentially my point boils down to this could quickly become a disaster in terms of the locker room. Raheem Morris is kind of unproven. We don't know if he's going to be able to manage this as a rookie head coach. Could really quickly have a headache on his hands. So it just comes down to, I don't know why the Falcons put themselves in this situation. They did not need to do this. They could have chosen one of two paths. The path of Kirk Cousins, let's go all in on him right now, or Michael Penix Jr., let's just draft him and build around him and hope he develops into a really good quarterback. But to do both of those at the same time makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever. So if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you listening. Please like and subscribe. And especially if you're a Falcons fan, we want to hear your comments down below. Thanks for watching.